Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good evening. I hope you guys in a good mood right now. Alright. We are from group 1 and the topic that we choose is transportation and logistics from a legal perspective. For the topic outline, there are introduction, content, law related regulatory bodies, current issue and conclusion. Now let's meet our team. First Nur Lanatul Najwa binti Elias, second Nur Faizah binti Najman, third Nur Sazrina binti Rahman, fourth Nurul Janati binti Abdul Khalik, fifth Elia Masara binti Bahrain. So now let's start the presentation.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurulatul Najwa binti Ilyas. I will start about introduction for transportation and logistics from a legal perspective. Okay, first, halal logistics is closely related to the supply chain process that uses and complies with the guideline set by Sharia. Halal logistics is implemented to ensure that halal principles are followed and maintained throughout the supply chain process. Halal logistics includes sourcing activities, storage, transportation, manufacturing, handling and distribution process. All these processes must comply with halal guideline that has been set as in the Malaysian standard related to logistics, so that the concept of halal toyiban is always maintained as guaranteed. As already established, halal logistics, there are three divisions, namely term of transportation, MS 2400, Part 1, 2019, warehouse MS 2400, Part 2, 2019, and retailing MS 2400, Part 3, 2019. But apart from this nation standard, there are also acts and laws related to halal logistics from a legal perspective. Okay, for the research objective, number one is to study the act or laws related to halal transportation. Number two is to find out about the regulatory bodies responsible for halal transportation. And the last is to identify some current issues related to the implementation and enforcement of halal transportation. I will continue for the act or laws related to halal transportation by sea. The act that we use for transportation by sea is Carriage of Goods by Sea Act 1950. As the short title and application in this act, firstly, Section 1. This act may be cited as the Carriage of Goods by Sea Act 1950. Secondly, this act shall apply to the states of Peninsula Malaysia only. As we know, in Malaysia, there are 13 states and one federal. So this act needs to be applied to all 13 states in Malaysia. As the application of rules for the carriage of goods by sea Act 1950 is Section 2. It stated that every transportation by sea in any port in Malaysia, whether inside or outside Malaysia, has a connection with the carriage of goods by sea. Okay, for the last is transportation by air. So the name of act is Carriage by Air Act 1974. Carriage by Air Act 1974 is an act to give effect to established convention related to carriage by air and aims to provide for matters related to there and ancillary there. In addition, the carriage by air in Malaysia has ratified 4 conventions in relation to the level of international carriage of passenger, baggage and cargo by air. The 4 divisions are: number 1 is Warsaw Convention 1929, number 2 is the Warsaw Hague Convention 1955, number 3 is the Guadalajara. The 4 divisions are: number 1 is the Warsaw Convention 1929, number 2 is the Warsaw Hague Convention 1955, number 3 is the Guadalajara Convention 1961, and the last one is the Montreal Convention 1999. So that's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Norfa Izzah binti Najman. Today I would like to present about a related act in the transportation. Third is about Sale of Good Act 1957. The meaning of the Sale of Good Act 1957 here is all activities involving the transaction and transfer of goods between sellers and buyers. In addition, it also known as a contract for the seller of good, which is mentioned in Act 4, which is a contract where a seller transfer or agree to transfer a property in goods to a buyer for a certain price. The main reason the Sale of Good Act 1957 was made was to protect consumers. This also explained that this act is the main legislation that provided a service to user in obtaining justice when they get something wrong. In addition to that, there is a formality of the contract, which is the contract of the way the sale is made, which is mentioned in Act 5, 1. That the sale contract is made by means of an offer until the acceptance of the offer by using various methods. Next, related to contract matters, which are divided into three matters, namely existing or future goods, good destroyed before making the contract, and goods damaged before sale but after the promise to sell. There are 13 effects of the contract between the seller and the buyer. Among them, in Act 19, which mentions the good must be a certain need, like if the contract is for the sale of good that cannot be a certain that not property is transferred to the buyer until the goods are as certain. Therefore, the Sale of Good Act 1957, which is related to the sales contract between the seller and the buyer in acquiring an item, must be followed so as not to violate the law that has been set. The fourth is Railways Act 1991. In this matter, the Ministry of Transport has the responsibility to operate road transport, including railways. This is because in main function is to formulate and implement transport policies in terms of land, logistic, air, and maritime. Therefore, there was the Railway Asset Corporation (RAC), which is a federal statutory body under the Malaysian Ministry of Transport, which was established under the Railways Act 1991. In addition to that, the Railways Act 1991 began after the repeal of the Railway Ordinance 1948. This act also covers railway matters in Sarawak, Sabah, and the Federal Territory of Labuan. This also mentioned in Act 7(1) related to the railway scheme, where it is explained that no railway can be built in the states, namely Sabah, Sarawak, and the Federal Territory in Labuan, without getting approval from the minister. As for the license to operate a train, it has been mentioned in Act 23 1 that not one can operate any train unless he has obtained a license that has been issued by the minister under Section 18. Whereas in Act 25 mentioned that no railway can be opened without approval from the minister. Therefore, in the Railways Act 1991, there are many acts that need to be complied with and need to be applied so the user's right can be protected and the operating system of railway transport runs more smoothly. 5 is about Malaysian Standard 2400/2019. Part 1 is about transportation. The purpose of transportation is to help move people and goods from one place to others. Transport is always divided into three types of part, which is land, water, and air transport. For land transport, it is divided into three parts, namely roads, highways, and railways. While water transport is divided into two types of parts, namely river and sea transport. Therefore, in general, Malaysian Standard 2400 2019 Part 1 is to determine the management system requirements to generate the halal integrity of products, goods or cargo which are handled through various means of transport. In addition to that, in this MS 2400 2090 also tells or explain related to the rules that need to be followed in relation to the withdrawal of goods or understood as a written movement, temperature, and related to the management of halal status. Because of that, the existence of this Malaysian standard can help someone in maintaining the halal status of an item. For part 2 is a warehouse. The meaning of a warehouse is a place to store goods in the form of raw materials, semi-finished products or finished products. In addition to that, a warehouse is a facility or a place to store goods from supplier to end user. This also explain that a good warehouse is a warehouse that has a good service system. Therefore, in general, nation standard 2400 2019 part 2 is to set the management system requirements to guarantee the halal integrity of product, goods or cargo in warehouse. In MS 2400 2019, it also explained that warehouse are used by those such as manufacturers, suppliers, and so on for the purpose of storage, packaging, and unloading of goods before they are distributed to consumers. Therefore, with the existence of these guidelines, all the work carried out in the warehouse is also under control. And the last is part 3 is about retailing. The meaning of retailing is all activity that involves selling products or services directly to the end user. That is the user for personal use, not for business. The meaning of retailer is a trader who carry out retail activities. Retailing also has a four retailing function, namely as a manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, and consumer. Therefore, in general, Malaysian Standard 2400 2019 Part 3 is to determine the management system requirements to generate the halal integrity of product or goods at the retail level. Among the effects of retailing on the economy is that it can provide more job opportunities for everyone. It can improve communication between producer and consumer. It can help small producer and retailing in the main thing in the economic world. Therefore, having guidelines related to retailing can improve the economic status of a country. That's all from me. Thank you. We pass to the next presenter.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Shazina binti Rahman. Today I want to share about my part, which is regulatory body. Okay, as we know, Malaysia have a lot of regulatory body that can relate with transportation and logistics from legal perspective. Okay, among of them are Ministry of Transportation, we call as MOT. Number two, Road Transport Department, we call as JPJ. Number three, Malaysia Aviation Commission, and the lastly, Marine Department, JLM, we call as Jabatan Laut Malaysia. Okay, what the role of MOT? MOT stand for Ministry of Transportation. Typically plays a multi-phase role in a country governance, whose responsibility include the development of transportation policy, planning and overseeing infrastructure project, formulating regulation, ensuring the vehicle safety, coordinating international and integrity effort, and many more. The specific functions can vary by country, but this broad category encompasses the common role associated with a ministry transport. Okay, number two, about Road Transport Department, we call as JPG. The responsibility of JPG is include driver license, vehicle registration, traffic enforcement, vehicle inspection, road safety education, regulatory compliance, license permitting, and many more. And also, this department overarching goals to ensure the safety and efficient operation of road transportation within its jurisdiction. Number three, about Malaysia Aviation Commission, we call as MAVCOM. MAVCOM play roles in regulating and promoting the development of the aviation industry in Malaysia. The key functions include economic regulation to ensure the fair competition, consumer protection, oversight of airport and traffic service, licensing and approval for aviation service provider. And there's a lot of role that in MEFCOM, and MEFCOM also comprehensive role aim to foster a competitive, efficient, uh, efficient, and consumer-friendly aviation environment in Malaysia. And the lastly, about Marine Department, JLM, we call as Jabatan Laut Malaysia, play role a pivotal role in regulatory ensuring the safety of maritime activity. Its responsibility includes safety regulation, manage of navigation and aids to navigation, port development, maritime law enforcement, search and rescue operation, environmental protection, maintenance of maritime infrastructure, and many more. The department operation mission is to foster safe, efficient, and sustainable maritime practices with its jurisdiction. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Janati binti Abdul Halik, ID number 2021354113. Okay, now I will continue the presentations with the current issue in transportation and logistics from a legal perspective. Right. As you guys can see here, this is one of the issues that related to halal, which is halal container increase the confidence of Muslims, strengthen the national economy. Alright, with a global Muslim population of 1.8 billion in 2023, the OIC economy, which includes 57 countries, recorded a combined gross domestic product GDP of 22 trillion US dollar or 28 trillion US dollar if the 5 OIC observer countries were also counted, as equivalent 22% of the world GDP. In 2009, Malaysia recorded as the first country in the world to introduce process guidance related to the production of halal product through the Malaysian Standard MS 1500/2009, Section 3.5.4, processing, handling, distribution and serving, later partially amended by the new standard MS 1500/2019, Section 4.5.2, manufacturing, handling and serving of products. In addition, in the new MS 1500/2019, Section 4.7, packaging and labeling, item C, is also stated during its preparation, processing, storage or transport, it shall be physically separated from any other foods not meeting the requirements specified in point A or B, or any other matter designated as impure by Sharia law. Thus, as the practice at ports in this country, there is a need to provide a halal warehouse for the purpose of storing halal product in order to comply with the requirement of MS 1500/2019. On that basis, that transport and logistic industries basically need to be skilled and maintaining halal standard to ensure that the product delivered are halal and clean and not contaminated with non-halal materials, especially for food products. Next, here is an issue from abroad which India's National Logistic Portal exposed sensitive personal data and trade record. Right. India's state-owned logistic portal has fixed misconfiguration and vulnerabilities that expose sensitive personal data and various state and private track record. National Logistic Portal Marine, the website made the sensitive and private data public due to misconfigured Amazon S3 buckets. It also carried a JavaScript file that include login credential into the web source code. Security researcher Bob Diatenko found the issue with the Indian portal through the open source security tool TrustHub. The exposed data include full name, nationality, date of birth, gender, passport numbers, passport issuing authority, and expiration date that various crew members of vessel and ship submitted for their travel. Similarly, there were invoice shipping orders and bills of landing among the sensitive piece of information. The Port, Shipping and Waterway Ministry and the firm responsible for the portal, a subsidiary of India's business conglomerate JM Baxi, did not respond to multiple requests for comment prior to publication. The Port, Shipping and Waterways Ministry launched the National Logistic Portal Marine in January. The project aimed to work as a single window for all logistic trade process and cover transportation modes in the waterway, roadway and airway. It also includes an online marketplace to access end-to-end logistics service. The data exposure incident comes just over a month after India, the second largest internet market after China, received its anticipated privacy law, the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. The law outlined guidelines for private companies' use of personal data but exempt the Indian government from legal obligation. I think that's all from me. Thank you. Now we move to the next presenter.
And some of the logistic issues happening in Malaysia is the issue of young talent in logistics service. In the issue of banning cigarettes will cause some parties to worry about the occurrence of smuggled cigarettes. This new bill involving logistic companies will have a negative impact on their business. And individuals born after 2007 not allowed to work in companies that have a tobacco supply chain. The companies that follow the law feel unfair because they comply and pay some taxes to the country, but illegal entities that do not pay taxes will continue to grow. And the next issue that happened recently is the upgrading of the logistics sector to the new section. Transport Minister Anthony Locke said more than 8,000 companies in the logistic industry. By upgrading the logistic industry is to be heard better. An efficient and effective logistics system will support our main ports in the industry. In conclusion, halal logistics have been put in place in accordance with the prescribed rules of Sharia. The principle must be followed in all halal logistic operation to ensure that the idea of halal Thayyiban is consistently upheld. Related logistic concerns demonstrate the fields significant to the nation. This issue has the potential to make the community and some parties more aware of the need to support halal logistics in order to boost the country's economy.
Thank you. That's all from our group presentation. We hope that we